Kidnappers released Zamfara chief, hold on to son. Zamfara government is to empower women and vulnerable people with 6 billion naira in 4 years. $308 million USD Abacha loot to be used on Lagos-Ibadan, Abuja-Kano expressways. For business, the federal government urged to prepare for oil price drop. And on the international scene, President Buhari laments the death of Saudi Arabian ambassador. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. I am Samira Ibrahim. Now the news in full. The district head of Gayari town in Gumi local government area of Zamfara state, Hassan Mohammed, has been released. The kidnappers, however, refused to release his son, Yasir Mohammed, who was also kidnapped last Saturday. A member of Mohammed's family, Farouk Gayari, told The Punch that the kidnappers collected a ransom of 5 million naira as against the 40 million naira they had earlier demanded for the release of the father and the son. The member of the family lamented that when the 5 million naira was handed over to them, they only released the district head, Hassan Mohammed, and refused to release his son, Yasir Hassan, saying that they must be given 2 motorcycles again. He said that the family members were making efforts to procure 2 motorcycles to give to the kidnappers so that Yasir could also regain his freedom. Meanwhile, the state police command said it was making efforts to arrest adopters of the district head and his son. The state assembly also said it was going to enact a law to prosecute kidnappers in the state. The Zamfara state government is to transfer the sum of about 6 billion naira under the intervention schemes program aimed at empowering the women and vulnerable people in the society in 4 years. The secretary to the state government, SSG, Alhaji Bala Bello Sarkin Kudun Maru, revealed this during a one-day handover ceremony of life stems materials to the skill acquisition centers in Kauran Namoda and Talatal Mafara local government areas of the state under the REACH project of the Save the Children International held at Multipurpose Center Gusau on Wednesday. The SSG maintained that the state government has, under the Office of Wife of the State Governor, Hajia Aisha Bello Matawalli, introduced Women Empowerment Scheme with 2,800 women monthly receiving 20,000 naira for them to have little trade for self-reliance. He said under the program, about 134,400 women are going to benefit in 4 years, which involve a cash transfer of about 2.68 billion naira, as well as in the intervention program for the youth, where 6,600 of them are to benefit and receiving stipends of 10,000 naira monthly that also involve about 3 billion naira in 4 years. The SSG said by this, the government is to transfer 6 billion naira to the vulnerable sector in the society, adding that in the current 2020 budget, there is allocation of about 18.5 billion naira for the health sector, which will represent about 11% of the entire budget. The Secretary to the State Government, while thanking the organizers of the NGOs in their kind gesture to the State Government, also assured them of State Government readiness to collaborate with them in order to move the state forward in the areas of intervention, especially in health sector. He thanked the REACH project and the Save the Child International for the kind gesture which they extended to the Zamfara state government, and thanked them for handing over of the life stem materials to skill acquisition centers in the state. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano State has approved the appointment of Alhaji Wada Aliyu Hakimin Ajingi as Chairman, Governing Council, State Primary Health Care Management Board, alongside other members of the Council. Other members are Dr. Dayyebo Muhammad, Tijjani Alhaji Garba, Dr. Binta, Director of Public Health and Disease Control of Ministry of Health, Representative of Ministry for Local Government, and representative of Ministry for Rural and Community Development. Others are representative of Ministry of Women Affairs, representative of Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, and Pharmacist Hisham Imamuddin, Director General, Drugs and Medical Consumable Supply Agency, DMCSA. Meanwhile, in another separate appointment, Governor Ganduje also approves the appointment of Dr. Tijjani Hussaini as the Executive Secretary of the State Primary Health Care and Management Board. All the appointments are with immediate effect. Governor Ganduje urged them to work tirelessly with the intent of making the institution very strong, effective, and efficient. He explained that with the caliber of people included on the Governing Council, the Primary Health Care Board will excel and continue to be exemplary as it started. The Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami San, in a press statement said that the $308 million General Sani Abacha's loot will be used to construct the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Abuja-Kano Expressway, and the second Niger Bridge. AGF Malami said the government of Nigeria is committed that the asset will support and assist in expediting the construction of the 3 major infrastructural projects across the country. He said the project currently being executed under the supervision of the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority as a public-private partnership, PPP, will boost economic growth and help alleviate poverty by connecting people and supply chains from the east to the west and to the northern part of Nigeria. The Attorney General said a vast area covering several kilometers with millions of the country's population are said to benefit from the road infrastructures. Mr. Malami also discouraged embezzlement of public funds and urged the international community to encourage sustainable development by recovering stolen assets. AGF Malami also recognized the effort of the 3 parties involved, Nigeria, JC, and the United States, and that of the legal experts and attorneys representing Nigeria. He emphasized on the importance of unity among countries in the implementation of the GFAR principles on the recovery of stolen assets. The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, has said it is under the jurisdiction of the federal government to decide on transport policy for states. Amechi stated this while commenting on the ban of commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okadas, and tricycles on major roads in Lagos State, in which took effect on February 1st. The minister, while speaking on Channels TV, Sunrise Daily, said implementation of transport policy is essentially a state affair, so you can't be telling a state whether they want Okada or tricycles or not. He said that's not the responsibility of the federal government, rather it's for the state government to decide what to do. He noted that the Lagos state government has a valid reason for enforcing the ban. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has detained Mr. Godi Nandi, the General Manager, Corporate Services, Petroleum Equalization Fund. The spokesperson of the commission, Mrs. Rashidat Okoduwa, told News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, in Abuja on Wednesday that Nandi was arrested on Monday and detained by the ICPC. She said the arrest followed Nandi's refusal to honor the several invitations sent to him by the ICPC over allegations of running private business against the civil service rules and regulations. The commission was said to be investigating a hotel in Owerri, the Imo State capital, which was allegedly owned by Nandi, against the provision of the public service rules. The rules which guide the conduct of public officers in the country states that while these officers are not prohibited from holding shares in both private and public companies, they must not be directors in private companies. However, documents discovered in the course of investigation shown that the hotel was said to have been established in 2015 and its bank account linked to Nandi's bank verification number, BVN. NANS also reports that Nandi was subsequently arrested by the Special Presidential Investigation Panel, SPIP, for the recovery of public property on allegations of corrupt enrichment, living beyond his legitimate earnings, and abuse of office. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) later got involved in the case and filed charges bordering on conspiracy, bribery, and money laundering against the accused at the Federal High Court in Abuja. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has appeared before the Senate in plenary over the increasing insecurity across the country. His appearance is in response to a summons by the Senate last week. Mr. Adamu arrived in plenary at 11:08 a.m. in the company of other security officers. The Senate had invited the IGP to discuss national insecurity, the need to restructure the security architecture in the country, as well as the concept and modalities of community policing. The lawmakers dedicated the whole of last Tuesday to discuss the said issue, while the minority leader, Enyinnaya Abaribe, called on President Muhammadu Buhari to resign as president. The Senate asked him to dismiss the service chiefs and appoint new ones. The Senate also set up an ad hoc committee to engage security agencies and find ways to end the menace. Both the Senate President, Ahmad Lawal, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Bajamiala, met with the President afterwards to relay the resolutions of the lawmakers. Mr. Bajamiala later said the President is also worried, as any other person, about the insecurity in the country. The meeting with the IG is underway behind closed doors. Mr. Lawal is expected to disclose their resolution afterwards. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. On business, over to Fatima Ibrahim.
Thank you, Samira Ibrahim. And on business, Standard Chartered Bank's Chief Africa Economist, Razia Khan, yesterday advised the federal government to initiate reforms that will prevent the economy from external shocks in the event of a slump in crude oil price. Speaking at the GTR conference in Lagos, the economist stressed that Nigeria, with its demography and potential, has the capacity to be much more than oil producer. She pointed out that the sharp drop in crude oil price around the year 2015 was an opportunity to perform the economy. The economist said the dependency on oil is still very much in place, but asked whether Nigeria is preparing for a situation where oil prices could weaken again. She said, the real question for Nigeria's economy is, can it move away from its basic oil dependency? In her assessment of the sub-Saharan African economy, Khan pointed out that Nigeria and South Africa, which hold over 50% of the region's GDP, largely determine the performance of the region's GDP. For Nigeria, a lot of consensus for the country's GDP growth hovers around 2%. She welcomed the return to the January to December budget cycle in the country, as well as efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria to boost private sector's credit. She said, it is too soon to see the impact of the AfCFTA, and noted that there is a broad-based agreement to proceed with the exercise that dismantles 19% of the tariff barriers that impedes intra-regional trade. She added that one thing we are always concerned about as investors and participants in the African economy is exchange rate risk. Commenting on the global economy, the economist said, the emergence of the coronavirus in China poses a challenge to the global gross domestic product, GDP. That's all we have on business news. Back to Samira Ibrahim.
Thank you, Fatima. On spot, over to Abu Sufyan.
Good day and welcome to Svtv Television Sports Room. My name is Svtv and as usual I bring the sports updates. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed the retired Nigerian professional footballer, former Super Eagles player and assistant coach Daniel Amokachi as Nigeria's football ambassador. The Nigerian football ambassador is a largely ceremonial role. Omokachi will assist the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development to scout for talent, be part of the processes to revive the country's football development, as well as mentor young sportsmen and women. Mr. Omokachi, a member of the 1994 Super Eagles team that won the African Cup of Nations in Tunisia, was also in the Nigerian Olympic football team that won gold medal at the Atlanta 96 Olympics. In addition to his football exploits in Europe, particularly in England, where he won the FA Cup with Everton in 1995, Omokachi, after his retirement, has managed Nasarawa United and Eyimba Football Club of Aba, and also has been the Super Eagles assistant coach for a short while. And here are the results of the major games played in Europe on Wednesday. In the FA Cup, Liverpool defeated Shrewsbury with a 0-0 to progress to the quarter-finals of the competition, while Derby County also defeated Northampton with 4-2. And in the French League, PSG defeated Nantes 1-2. While in German Super Cup, Schalke 04 played a 2-2 draw with Hertha Berlin, while Borussia Dortmund lost away to Werder Bremen in a 5-goal thriller. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to the newsroom.
Thank you, Sophia. And on the international scene. President Muhammadu Buhari has described the death of Saudi Arabian ambassador to Nigeria, Adnan Mahmoud, as a great loss of a passionate friend of Nigeria and a foreign diplomat who identified himself with the progress and development of Nigeria. President Buhari said in a condolence message that the late Adnan Mahmoud was one of the finest diplomats he had ever met, and his humility was one of the enduring virtues. According to the president, the late Saudi Arabian ambassador had dedicated himself sincerely to promoting constructive and beneficial relationship between Nigeria and his country, and we cannot therefore forget his remarkable achievement in forging closer ties between the two countries. President Muhammadu Buhari noted that Nigeria will have fond and enduring memories of Adnan Mahmoud, who was one of the greatest diplomats ever posted to Nigeria. He had worked assiduously for the progress and development of Nigeria and will never forget these significant contributions. May Allah bless and forgive his gentle soul. The President, on behalf of himself, family, the government and people of Nigeria, convey his condolences to His Majesty King Salman, the government and the Royal Kingdom of Saudi Arabia over the irreparable loss. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Kidnappers released Zamfara chief, hold on to son. Zamfara government is to empower women and vulnerable people with 6 billion naira in 4 years. $308 million USD Abacha looked to be used on Lagos-Ibadan, Abuja-Kano expressways. On business, federal government urged to prepare for oil price drop. And on the international scene, President Muhammadu Buhari laments death of Saudi Arabian ambassador. That has been the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant time. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.